Weather Northeastern with meteorologist Mark Molnar. Let's take a look at some viewer sent-in photos from this past winter storm across the Northeast. This was from the upstate New York area near the Corning area. Micah Bush has some photos of around 7 inches of snow, about the same as the previous storm earlier last week. And this occurred, of course, mostly during the day on Monday, some of it starting Sunday night and continuing on into Monday. And as you can see, quite the snowy scene. The snow did seem to come down the heaviest during the early morning hours of Monday morning. And of course, these photos really show this winter storm justice. Now, some other areas that received snow were further east towards Binghamton and Cortland and towards the Catskills, where you saw upwards of 10 to as much as 14 inches of snow, although there were lesser accumulations over Pennsylvania due to more warm air aloft, causing the changeover to sleet and freezing rain. So thank you, Micah Bush, for sending these winter wonderland photos in. Let's take a look at the outlook for precipitation. This is liquid equivalent. Your eyes are drawn to this west coast here. Look at this. This is a tremendous amount of precipitation, almost off my precipitation scale here, on the order of 10 plus inches, especially along the coastline. This is an unprecedented storm that will be heading in, and it will be cutting off for quite a period of time. It's extremely intense, and once it moves in, it will kind of park itself here on the west coast and then drift towards the southwestern part of the United States. So this is the big story out west. Back east, we have the potential for a few Clipper systems. One will try to go coastal on Thursday, but the big story will be next week, where we could have a few East Coast snowstorms. Let's take a look at what we've got going on for that outlook. Of course, the pattern setting up for the next, say, 3 to 4 days into the weekend. We're looking at those Alberta Clippers. The southern stream tries to meet up here. We will, of course, have some moisture available for these Clippers and some quick, slight energy transfers. But at this point, we don't think it will become too close to the coast to cause any major problems. We'll have accumulations further inland and along the coast, but they'll only amount to, say, 2 to 4 inches on average, with maybe higher amounts towards the lakes as you get the lake enhanced. But as I said, the big story will be this really deepening trough out west here, where we'll start to ramp up this really, really deep trough, deep moisture, and lowering snow levels. Let's get right into those snowfall amounts for the northeastern part of the United States. This takes us through towards the Friday time frame, just before the weekend. And as you can see, most of the accumulations will be light into New England. We will have a couple inches as that Clipper meets up with some sort of coastal. Of course, the models are really sketchy on this one, so we're going to discount this as more of an open wave, more of a progressive pattern. But here across the lakes, this is where I told you we will see the lake enhanced upwards of 4, maybe 5 inches east of Lake Ontario, east of Lake Erie, where those winter weather advisories are going. Further inland, we will see that 2, maybe 3 inches, and then towards Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania, it will taper off. Let's take a look at the pattern setting up for next week, because this is where things get really interesting. Of course, we're going to be dealing with that continued storm in the west. Back east here, we will have a good deal of troughiness developing, and almost like a cutoff trough here. But one thing to note will be a storm system that will stall across the eastern part of the United States. A stationary front will set itself up here, and that's where we'll see low pressure systems ride up to the northeast along the east coast. And this is where things could potentially get interesting next week, come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and as late as Thursday, because we start to see some of these systems take shape. Now, the details are sketchy at most, but we will have that Arctic front moving down across the lakes, meeting up with this stalled out frontal boundary starting later on Monday and into Tuesday. So this is something that bears watching. It is much too early to get into precipitation amounts, totals, and where exactly the snowfall will be falling. But I thought I would mention this, as especially since it could be a high impact event if all of the factors and energy materializes. So let's take a look at the surface map, starting off with your Wednesday. We're looking not too bad here across coastal sections. We're bringing up some warm air in the 40s towards New York City. This will be a brief warm up. You can see back towards Binghamton, Cleveland, Buffalo, the thruway managing to break maybe towards 32 degrees. But as you see that next Arctic boundary here, bringing in some light to moderate snow showers here across the lakes. It pushes in for Thursday. Look at these temperatures plummeting down towards the low to mid-teens in many areas and towards zero over the U.S.-Canadian border. We start to push that snow further east towards the coast. Like I says, we will probably end up with a couple inches most locations, but at this time we're not expecting this to explode into a major nor'easter until it starts to get more towards the Canadian Maritimes, and even then it'll be too far east for most of this deep moisture to make it in. We head towards your Friday, clearing out, but much colder across the lakes here. We try to kick in some lake effect behind that system for late Thursday into Friday, but then high pressure starts to crest in for later Friday afternoon, and that will set us up for the potential of the next system approaching from the west on Saturday. Of course, we don't have too much in the way of problems until you get more towards Sunday, where that Arctic boundary will traverse across the lakes here. But as you can see, temperatures looking very, very cold, but it is January. However, these temperatures are below January norms. So that's what we've got going on after this time period here. After Sunday night into Monday, Tuesday next week, that's when we have that stalled out frontal boundary. That Arctic front will stall along the east coast, and we will have that potential for a system to ride up out of the Gulf of Mexico and up the east coast. How close it comes to the east coast depends on how far east that boundary stalls. I'll have more details on that as the week wears on, as we draw closer to that event. Anyways, I will also have updates on the west coast system that will be plummeting into the west coast towards the desert southwest. But I'm going to have a 5-day outlook here for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton's upstate New York, Susquehanna region of upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com. It's Twitter at WX Northeastern, Google Plus at MeteoMark. Look at this 5-day outlook here. We're traversing from the midpoint of the week to the weekend here. Look at this. Not too bad starting off, looking about 30, 31, but look at this. We bring those snow showers in later on Wednesday into Thursday morning. We could end up with up to 2 inches, maybe 3 inches on the hilltops of accumulation. Temperatures plummeting by Thursday afternoon down into the mid-teens. Friday, continued cold, and Saturday, we bump a little bit up maybe towards 20, but look at those overnight lows. Still going down pretty far, some of these overnight lows, especially Friday morning, Thursday night into Friday morning here. Look at this. This could be the real cold one, 10 to 15 below in many areas. Then we head towards Sunday, and of course, we start to slowly warm things up, but not enough to make much of a difference. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.